on Politically Incorrect, Bill's special one-on-one guest, the Boutros Boutros-Ghali in the war between the sexes, feminist provocateur Camille Paglia. And now, the star of Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm really sorry I have to talk about Bob Dole now. Really, it was such a good mood, and now thank you. That is very kind of you. And the big news is Bob Dole says he's going to announce for the presidency. Not big news, like I say. It's just... No, over the weekend, he formed a committee in charge of raising funds, and this week he is forming a committee in charge of misusing them. So he is right in the... The other big news, I had to start talking, didn't I? It was such a lovely moment there with just the adulation. But I guess you saw the scientists have discovered the largest black hole ever recorded. That is a big black hole out there. They finally found it. You know what? It weighs the equivalent of 40 million suns. But since it's black, it looks much thinner. It's black is thinning. It's just going to be all downhill now. Just from that, I can't live up to that. No, wait, the news about the black hole, everybody in the scientific community, even the academic community, was very excited. The only person who was a little pissed off was Al Sharpton. He says it should not be called a black hole, it should be called a hole of color. That's what he said. Oh, there we go. The old black hole routine. Oprah Winfrey is in the news. Nothing. No, I saw... coincidence. She admitted that she smoked cocaine in her... Now, that's bad for the kids to see people applauding that. In her 20s, she said she smoked cocaine in her 20s. I would not have suspected her, Oprah Winfrey, of smoking cocaine in her 20s. Smoking a lot of pot in her 30s. Yes, that would be logical because the munchies. Now, the Pope is in the Philippines. Did you see this? He is given the largest, Pope John Paul II, the largest mass ever, 5 million people. And what an event. He opened with a short prayer and then closed by going nuts and smashing his instruments against the altar. Just, that was, the Pope did that. And then, after the show, he got busy with Pamela DeBarge. Speaking of sexual matters, hey, how about that Playboy? Did you see they named their Playmate of the Year, Miss Tracy Adele? Now, she is obviously lovely. You have to be to get in there, but maybe there's some politics at work because, you know, she's the one who O.J. Simpson had a conversation with the day he killed his wife. And, I mean, allegedly. And I think she's a good match for him because she listed among her turn-ons a man who's not afraid to show his emotions. And O.J. seems to really like her. He said, unlike Nicole, she's got her head on straight. So anyway, we have a good show. Remember, it's all been satirized for your protection. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Listen, for anyone who doesn't watch the show regularly, we usually have 4 people here on a panel, but once in a while we get someone who has so much to say that we figure the other 3 people won't get in a word in edgewise anyway. So we do a one-on-one, and this person certainly is deserving. If you have not been aware of the contribution she has made to the feminist debate in the last 10 years, you really have not been paying attention. She is the professor of humanities at Philadelphia's University of the Arts. Her book, Sexual Personae, broke a lot of new ground, and this is her new one, Vamps and Tramps. Welcome, Camille Paglia. baby.
Right, right.
Sit down. Okay.
Yeah, great.
Dating do's and don'ts. No, I'm just kidding about that. Let me start off by asking you this. I'm trying to find some common ground with this, and I think we do have a lot. But I hope so.
Yeah.
But very often people ask me politically incorrect. What does that mean? They think it means conservative because politically correct means liberal. And I always say, well, I am conservative on some things, but really what I want to do is give liberalism a good name. I think political correctness gave it a bad name.
Correct.
Would you say the same thing about feminism, what you were doing for feminism? You think it got a bad name, now you want to get it on the right track?
I agree with you because I hate dogma in any form. I left the Roman...
I hate dog shit. There's common ground right there. And I think you just proved women are smarter than men. Good night.
But I left the Roman Catholic Church 25 years ago because I could not stand the suppression of free thought and free speech by the nuns and so on. And so to my horror, I as a 60s libertarian, to my horror, when the feminist movement lurched in a kind of Stalinist direction in the 1970s, I was appalled. In fact, I was drummed out of the feminist movement from the start, arguing about the Rolling Stones. It's a famous, huge argument. They were screaming at me. I love the song Under My Thumb. I consider the Rolling Stones the greatest rock band, and Under My Thumb is a sexist song, but this group of feminist musicians, this is 1969, 1970, they're saying to me, they're bad musicians because they're sexist. I'm going, whoa, 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 whoa. They may be sexist, but they're great musicians. So there was a kind of Stalinist insistence that art conform.
But do you also agree with the message of the song? Because in the song, which I also happen to like, at least musically, but I mean, he says, you know, she only speaks when she's spoken to.
But if you really look at the lyrics, you'll see that once she had him down, okay, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
All right, now he's got her down, but the implication is that's an eternal cycle ever moving, and that she'll have the upper hand, like, you know, next week.
The implication is she dated him before Satisfaction was a hit.
I know. But rock and roll should never be politically correct, okay? I hate this kind of grunge, PC music, okay, which wants to be nice to women. Excuse me, you know, the greatest rock creations have come out of lust and aggression, which I'm trying to encourage. We need more of that.
God, I wish I could have you. But I know that's impossible, but we have to take a break. We'll be back with Camille Paglia.
If you'd like to be a member of our studio audience, call 212-512-8959.
Okay, we're back. Let me get the basic feminism stuff out of the way, because I want you to address this about, let's talk about what the actual guy in the street, because that's what really matters. I mean, he doesn't read your books. Let's be honest, he doesn't. It's too, you know, I mean, frankly, it's a little tough for me. I mean, you're a professor. You're a smart...
They see me on TV. They stop me in the street.
And that's okay.
They stop me in the street. They say, give them hell, girl.
That's right.
They do.
And they get the big message. And I think you do speak a lot for what men want to hear. But, I mean, if you talk to the average man in the street, I mean, and you say feminism, what does he think? He thinks, excuse me, but hey, a bunch of angry dykes who couldn't get laid and they ruined it for everybody. Right? Not me necessarily, but I'm just saying the average, he thinks angry, they think men are you know, men are bums, and everything has to be political and hear me roar.
Well, the time for confrontation with men was real. It was there. Late 60s, early 70s. I myself, I was a forerunner, okay? I have kicked men, I have punched men, I have broken my umbrella over the head of men, and so on. Right? I'm an open lesbian, okay? I express my anger with men directly. I do not have to get into a group and whine about men. What I hate about the feminist establishment, there are a bunch of women who use men as a social escort service, okay? A lot of the leading feminists, they're never without a man, okay? All right? They use them, and then they bitch in their books about men, okay? So I think that now, here it is, like it's the 90s, all right, and we're at 30 years down the line now, and we can say the time for hostility toward men in feminism is over. It's time to reconcile, to find common ground, all right, for 21st century feminism has got to let men find their own voices. This is the point, okay? I think the men's movement is very positive. It's up to men to define themselves. Men can't be like waiting for women to give them a laundry list. Okay, be this, be this, be this. No, we do not want men like women. We do not want castrated men.
Have you read this? How to win and hold a mate?
No, I have not. Fascinating.
Well, you happen to be wrong, my friend. Right here, what quality should be sought in a date? If a girl, charmingly feminine. If a male, decidedly masculine. Normally vigorous and free from chronic ailments. 1957, they still wanted you to be free from chronic ailments. If they only knew.
No, see, the thing is, the 60s generation were about androgyny. I mean, I was part of that. We thought that we could blur the sexes, that the idea of male and female, anachronistic, patriarchal conceptions, we were going to demolish them. And now we find, again, several decades down the road, we're not happy. Feminism has not brought sexual happiness. In fact, the division between the sexes, it's even more fierce. So I think that we're in a period now in the 90s, we're looking again for sexual difference. They shouldn't be strict. They shouldn't be totalitarian. Okay, but I do think that at the opposite end of the extremes, that there is such a thing as masculinity, and there is such a thing as femininity. I am not a feminine woman. Okay, so I have always been in revolt against my sex role. I'm a mutant. I admit I am a deviant. Okay, my entire life.
I know. I read something where you said that you couldn't get laid for 10 years.
Oh my, this was up to last year. I had a 10-year drought. I was world famous. I couldn't get a date. Okay, men, women. Right?
You don't think it had anything to do with the fact that you talk too fast?
I always knew that. I knew that was the reason. But when I have a drink, I'm very mellow. I'm malleable. I'm very mellow and malleable. I'm a pussycat at home.
Talk fast, slow. I've always said it. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem. We have to take a break, but we will come back, and wherever we are, we'll come back.
Accommodations provided by the Sheraton New York Hotel and Towers, conveniently located in Midtown Manhattan.
Okay, welcome back with Camille Paglia. Let me throw some issues at you that we've done on this show before, politically incorrect issues, because you're the only one who probably will ever agree with me on some of these.
Yeah.
Women always say, you always hear that rape is not about sex. They always say it's a violent act. I always said, no, it's a sexual act.
That's right.
And you think I'm right about that?
Absolutely, it's absurd. In fact, when I came on the scene, 5 years ago, you heard that like a mantra on TV. Rape is a crime of violence, but not of sex. That is a stupid statement. Okay, there is something that is lust. Okay, there is something that is barbaric behavior that can. I mean, my most famous rape essay begins: "Rape is an outrage that cannot be tolerated in civilized society." Having said that, okay, I want to say that I think that most women cannot understand what's going on in the kind of the primitive mind. I don't know what, again, because of my deviant mental status. I don't know what it is. I've always been able to understand extreme criminal behavior, rape, murder, and so on. And I have said, I see with the eyes of the rapist. Okay, so
Because you said that if you were raped, you would not press charges. You would say that it just meant that you misread the signals.
Well, on a date, I'm saying I think a date is an encounter between two sexual beings, and,
right.
and I follow the gay male philosophy. Gay men, something goes wrong on a date, they don't run to a grievance committee the next day. Oh, help me! Oh, slap the person on the hand. Gay men are adults. They take responsibility for the behavior. Okay, I know a lot of gay men I know have gotten beaten up and everything else. They don't whine.
Well, let's talk about date rape.
Yeah,
then,
I'm a teacher. 23 years I'm teaching. Okay, so when I'm talking about date rape, I'm talking about from the perspective of someone who has dealt with freshmen for years, and therefore my views about the caution that's necessary for young women when they go out on a date and so on. I believe I'm closer to reality than a lot of these effete literati who disagree with me from the establishment in New York who never taught a class in their lives.
Oh, Christ, I was going to get in there. Hey, people, when I have an opening, shut up and let me, okay? Just do me a favor. But you said, when you say that date rape, I mean, you say that if a woman goes to a man's apartment or house at the end of a date, that is consent. Like in the Mike Tyson case, that she went up in there and that she should know, and that you shouldn't report it. Then it's not rape.
No, what I'm saying is that in this period after the sexual revolution, which my generation created, all right, we're in a period now where it's not clear whether you're someone who's very religious, you're going to be a virgin until you get married, or whether you're someone who'll just do it. So given that, everyone has to be very clear about communications, not just verbal ones. No always means no. A stupid idea. But how you dress, your body language,
Exactly.
and the situation. All right, so I'm saying you meet somebody, a stranger in a bar, okay, you consent to go to his apartment the first date. That's you are consenting to sex, okay? That is what it is a street theater. It's body language and so on. And so I'm saying, you know, do not give incorrect signals. Like these white middle-class girls, okay, in America are so removed from reality, okay? Now, often African-American women, working-class people usually agree with me. When I go to Europe, they can't believe it. They think, what is going on over there? What I'm saying, the Paglia philosophy is just common sense reality, which means that, you know, if you're going to a fraternity party, you know, you're not, if you're gonna, I often say about, if you dress like Madonna, okay, you know, if you advertise, you better be ready to sell, okay? All right? All right. So in other words, you can dress how you want. All right.
Right. I mean, I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
So many times a woman in a bar has, you know, like a very low-cut dress, and then they get mad at you for staring at their cleavage. It's like, why don't you wear your brains down there then?
That's right, right.
I have to cut you off, which I know is a dangerous business, but we'll be back.
Got a problem with any of this? Well, write to us at Politically Incorrect, 514 West 57th Street, New York, 10019.
We're back with Camille, and let's talk a little bit about the media, which you are a master manipulator of. Specifically, I say that as a compliment. Movies, because we've done a lot of issues about sex in the movies. In fact, we had, you know, Elizabeth Wurtzel, the author?
Yes.
She was on here once, and she was talking about how, you know, sex in the movies, and she was basically saying, you know, it doesn't reflect reality. How many times do people in real life, you know, get boned against a chain link fence?
Alas. Yeah.
And it happens twice in every movie.
Yeah.
Our issue was that, you know, Janet Reno's upset about violence in movies. The depiction of romance, I always say, is much more damaging, because they always have that situation where the girl hates the guy at the beginning of the movie, so they can have a plot. So she thaws out throughout the whole movie. So every idiot who watches that goes, oh, every girl who hates me is going to want me in 90 minutes. Don't you think? When really she probably hates you because she doesn't like you.
No, but I believe in seduction. I think people can be convinced, going from a no to a yes. I believe
Really?
you know, I've learned a lot from movies, especially the great foreign films. I mean, a lot of my view of sexuality comes from the great studio era, the glamorous women, Hedy Lamarr, and so on, whose sexuality is and look at the great women. Compared to Meryl Streep or Meg Ryan, barf, okay, to like Anouka May, okay, Jean Moreau, Catherine Deneuve, Monica Vitti, the great Stefano Dron, the great stars of European cinema.
Right. You don't like the Meryl Streeps. You don't like the ones who've renounced glamour, right? You say women made a big mistake.
Big mistake. Hollywood is about glamour. The minute you had that kind of working actor, very moralistic style of Meryl Streep, shunning Hollywood thing, you got the supermodels. The supermodels are now the world you know, carriers, transmitters of the old Hollywood glamour.
Now, you're bisexual.
I certainly am.
Okay. First of all, doesn't it get tiresome to have to check out everybody's ass? That's my first question. I mean, it turned out Woody Allen was right when he said it doubles your chances for a date on Saturday night, because you wound up with a woman. You have a companion now who's a woman.
My best things are with women.
Was it just chance that it was a woman? Could it have just as easily been a man that you wound up with?
I sleep with men, but I don't fall in love with men. Okay, I'm very lascivious in general. It's a wonderful, it's a great entertainment factor. If every single person you see on the street, you can cruise. I mean, it's wonderful. Yeah.
And speaking of cruise, let me ask you this: if you had your choice, Tom Cruise or Nicole Kidman?
I cannot choose. I cannot choose.
Really? They're both equally attractive to you?
I think Tom Cruise is more attractive to me, I think, yeah.
All right, that's one for the men. Alec Baldwin or Kim Basinger?
Oh, I like both of them, but I actually like Alec Baldwin. I like that kind of style. I really like that kind of you know, louche, gigolo style.
I wish I had it. The louche and gigolo, whatever it is, I want it. Richard Gere or Cindy Crawford?
I like both of them.
Stiller or Mira?
You're hilarious.
Let me ask you this. I mean, do you... We're just starting to scratch the surface on homosexuality, and we will do that tomorrow night, actually, when we continue this interview. But I've noticed, maybe I'm wrong, but in L.A., New York, which I spend most of my time, aren't a lot more girls doing each other nowadays? Is just that...
Oh, no doubt. Oh, there's no doubt. Oh, my God. When I was in college... I mean, my batting average was 0, okay, for most of my life, okay? In the 60s, when I was in college, nobody. You could find no one, just the worst dogs. I mean, you know, like 3 dogs you might find. Okay, now, all the girls are doing it in the best campuses. It's so true. You know, I really missed it. I missed the golden age of lesbianism. Yeah. But women are naturally more bisexual, I think, than men. It's a lot easier for women.
But why in 20 years did they, I mean, why when you were in college they weren't doing it? Because I mean, I went once in LA about a year ago to, there's a girls bar, you know, it's like one night a week, it becomes like, and I saw, I mean, there was like 1,000 and a million pretty, really good looking girls. I mean, they were not flannel lesbians, and it made me think, what am I wasting my time for in this town? I mean, and maybe never want to hit on a girl at the car wash again. Not that I hit on girls at the car wash.
I'm worried, though. I'm concerned. Like in Vamps and Tramps, in the new book, I talk about the fact that I don't think that a lot of this current homosexuality is necessarily positive homosexuality. I think a lot of it is being caused by the alienation between the sexes. I want women to turn back to men. I really do. I don't want them to be exclusively with men. I want them to, like, you know, to remain bisexual. But I think that men are shrinking. The more they do what feminists want, the more they shrink.
Well, men are shrinking. On that note, I have to cut you off. I know you have very little to say, but somehow we'll catch some more conversation out of you tomorrow night when we'll continue our special one-on-one with Camille Paglia.
Tonight on Politically Incorrect, Bill's special one-on-one guest loves pornography even more than we do, feminist provocateur Camille Paglia. And now, the star of Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Hey, opening arguments. Did you hear this? Scheduled to begin in the O.J. Simpson trial, and that's just between Robert Shapiro and F. Lee Bailey. So, no, apparently there's a big feud there. Did you hear about that? Robert Shapiro and F. Lee Bailey, and when 2 lawyers are at odds like that, boy, Katie barred the door. Apparently they're not even lying to each other. They're not even lying. Prince Charles, did you hear this? This came out today. Used to, when he was with Lady Di, when he was still married, used to sneak over 4 nights a week to Camilla Parker Bowles' place, yeah. And the odd part is, it was just to watch Arsenio. We have some news here from the very building we tape in here over on 57th Street in New York, where they also do 60 Minutes. Andy Rooney, our friend downstairs, has signed a 3-year pact with 60 Minutes, and apparently he was so excited he burst into a scowl. and then he launched into a hysterical diatribe about the size of jars. Yeah, it's also his 76th birthday. They had a party. We snuck into it the other day. He opened all his gifts and then spent the rest of the time complaining about them. He's a curmudgeon, that guy. Now, did you hear this? The Beverly Hills Hotel out there in Beverly Hills has been undergoing renovation for the last couple of years, but they're opening up soon, and they announced that they're going to have a Jerry Garcia suite in the hotel. Yeah, it's the only suite where the TV will only show flashbacks. Now, here in New York, we have news about our Archbishop. Is that what he is? Cardinal O'Connor, is he an Archbishop? Whatever he is, he's the head man. I mean, he's got the tallest hat among the Catholics here in New York. He's Not professionally at all. Just fun. And finally, human interest story. I guess you know, you've been following this for years, about the two Chinese pandas. They keep trying to get them to mate, and they have now brought them over to the San Diego Zoo, where apparently they're very good at that. But I don't think it's working out. The female panda wanted to see who the audience picked. But no, it's... No, but they say if anybody has a chance to mate these two, it's the San Diego Zoo. And if it works with the pandas, they're going to bring in Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley. Anyway, thank you. It's all been satirized for your protection. Welcome to the show, and we have another very special show here tonight. Let me say again, for you viewers who don't usually see this show, well, you're missing a lot, first of all, but also we usually have a lot of people here, but tonight we only have one, because sometimes we have a guest who is worthy of just talking to I'm surprised I can get a word in edgewise with her. She was here last night, and she was great. Her name is Camille Paglia. I'm sure you know it. Her new book is called Vamps and Tramps, and she is the professor of humanities at Philadelphia's University of the Arts. Please welcome once again Camille Paglia. Thank you, kiddo. Okay. When we last left you, we were talking about certain sexual matters, and homosexuality came up just by chance. Now, let me take issue with you here. We agreed too much on that first show. This is you talking. I'm quoting. Homosexual potential is in everyone. Under the right circumstances, it will out. You really believe that? In everyone?
I do, except that I do feel that that nature puts hormones in us that kick in at puberty, that drive the sexes together. Also, so what I'm saying is that, as a cultural historian, that I do not see much evidence throughout history of exclusive homosexual relationships among adults. That what you get is married men, as in classical Greece, going to female prostitutes, and then boy love. All right, that's what you get in most of the history of the world. So what I'm saying is that we have to explain why adult men are not attracted at all to women, or why adult women are not attracted at all to men. I hate the kind of, for example, the kind of defamation of the penis that goes on regularly in lesbian feminism. In fact, you know, Vamps and Tramps begins with a transcript of a book of a program I did in England, The Penis Unsheathed. Now, how many lesbians you know would celebrate the glories of the penis? Okay, on British TV?
4.
No, I know.
4. I mean, the top's 4. But wait a minute. But wait a second. Let me take issue with this basic thing about you say everybody has a homosexual in them. That's to me, that is the oldest gay comment in the world. Is that you just haven't met the right. I've had guys say that to me.
Yeah. No,
because they say you just haven't met the right guy yet, and I say baloney. And I'm not like. But I'm not saying I'm like Mr. Macho or anything, but I mean, honestly, I think I'm an average American red-blooded male, and I have never, under any circumstances, no matter who the guy was, had any urge. There's nothing in me, I promise you, that ever wanted to look at a man's hairy backside.
Well, what I would like is what I'm talking about is sort of an attitude of bisexual experimentation. In fact, I think that if you study art history, you are kind of being tutored in an attitude of bisexual responsiveness to the beautiful female bodies and the beautiful male bodies in the history of art. So I just would like, I want people to be open. But a little sex play here and there, what would it hurt? Would it kill you?
No, but you have also said that you don't think homosexuality is natural. Isn't that true?
No, I'm saying exclusive homosexuality on the adult level. I'm talking about just random sex play.
Right. I have
a little polymorphous, perverse, roll in the hay. Now and then.
You say exclusive lesbianism is emotional retardation.
Well, that's not an exact quote, but I do. It's
pretty close.
Unfortunate.
As much as I could fit on the card. You do talk awfully fast, okay? I mean, I was trying to write it down at the time. And
actually, in No Law in the Arena, which is the main essay of Vamps and Tramps, I talk at length about my disappointment in lesbian feminism. For example, my disillusion with Martina Navratilova, who's the great Amazon queen, you know, of the 70s and so on. I
thought she was a tennis player. Listen, I have to take a break. We will continue with this when we get back.
If you'd like to be a member of our studio audience, call 212-512-8959.
Okay, we're back with Camille Paglia, and we were talking about homosexuality, whether it's natural or unnatural. Let me tell you a little story from when I used to do my old act as a stand-up that sometimes once in a while I take around the country again. Thank you very much. I used to do a bit about how, you know, it's not easy being a heterosexual. You know, I mean, it's very tough out there because the sexes are so different. But, you know, when the heterosexual seas get choppy, I don't jump ship and swim to Fag Island. Thank you very much. And thank you. I'll be here all weekend. Tip your waitresses. I'm here at Fudd Chuckler's through Sunday. Anyway, the point, I guess, and one time a gay man came up to me after the show and he said, you know, I like what you do, but when you say fag, you know, it's like saying, and he said this, he said, it's like saying nigger. So after that, I used nigger in the joke. It never worked. No, but I don't write me, I was just... But, I mean, the point of the joke, I think that he really objected to also, he said, was that, he said, you know, what you're basically saying is that homosexuals are quitters, that we couldn't make it in the heterosexual arena. We got frustrated, and so that's why we're doing it. That's not true. You think it is true?
Well, I think that we're in a period very politicized gay activism now, where people are saying, you're born gay. I don't believe for a minute you're born gay. Okay? My working hypothesis is that homosexuality is an adaptation to, in some cases, to environmental pressures and so on. I'm coming out of the period of Freud where you were able to analyze your relation to your mother and your father. I don't know a single gay person, male or female, that doesn't have some peculiar relation to the parental figures. Now, again, I'm celebrating homosexual expression, and I'm part of the Stonewall, you know, liberation movement and so on. But I'm tired of just blaming George Bush and the Republicans for everything that comes down the pike. I believe that self-knowledge is the ultimate human principle. Ultimately, you know, Socrates' great maxim and so on. So I want gay people to start inquiring again. Why are you alienated from the opposite sex? Why? There is an alienation that...
I don't know, but Socrates was taking it.
Well...
I mean, let's be honest. I mean...
Socrates was nagged by his wife, Xanthippe, okay? And in fact, in his one opportunity to have his way with the beautiful Alcibiades, refuses. Actually, sexual renunciation seems to be Socrates' philosophy. It may not have been Plato's, okay, but it was Socrates.
But you know, you are in a relationship now.
Yes, for a year and a half.
For a year and a half with a woman?
Yes.
And now, I don't know, to forgive my ignorance, but I don't know that much about, as I said, homosexual relationships. But I mean, who wears the strap-on in your family? I mean, or does that? And if it's her, I don't want to meet her, because that's one tough chick. No, but I mean, or does anyone have to anymore?
Well,
I mean, do you have to have a role? I mean,
post-Stonewall, you don't have to have the roles as much, although there has been...
What does that mean, post-Stonewall?
Well,
you said that
the
before.
Stonewall Liberation Movement, the Stonewall Rebellion, the Stonewall in 1969, is the moment that the drag queens fought back.
Okay.
The drag queens fought back, okay, against the police, you know, just harassment.
Stonewall was the name of the club they were going?
Yes, of the bar in New York City where there was a
bar,
riot.
the cops came.
They were mourning the death of Judy Garland. Okay, so we can like, you know, thank Judy Garland for this. Okay, all right. And the drag queens fought back against the police, and the police were just a random raid, which they used to do, you know, regularly in the old days. So before Stonewall, the lesbian world was in butch femme kind of polarized roles, and then there was a period for about 20 years there where that was out, and androgynous back and forth was in. And now I think the butch femme thing is coming back again. People are more interested in it.
What was my question?
It was who wears the strap-on? Paglia. That was your question.
Oh, well, I'm glad I ignored it, and we have to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little politics. back. We are talking with Camille Paglia. Let's talk a little about politics. What's going on in Washington, because I know you follow that. You like Bill Clinton. You don't like Hillary?
No, I was a great fan of Hillary for years, but you know, I think that she turned into a kind of despot, an autocrat, which is inconsistent with a liberal democracy. So the Advancing Tramps has a whole series of things I did on her. I wrote like, laudatory things at the beginning, and then slowly it starts to change. And the media, you know, the major media in the East Coast took a long time to catch up. They were like kissing the butts of you know, Hillary and Bill long after you know, some criticism was necessary.
We did an issue on the show first season about Hillary Clinton versus Nancy Reagan, two different approaches to power, to getting what you want. I mean, Hillary's approach is to sort of, you know, what a classical feminist would do, is like, do what men do, actually get in their arena and fight for power. Nancy Reagan's is the old 50s way, oh, no, 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 stay behind the scenes, sort of an end run, use your feminine wiles. I would say in the long run, Nancy Reagan got more of what she wanted. I think she really more ran the country than Hillary Clinton does.
That seems to be true. But unfortunately, Hillary did ride her husband's coattails into power. I mean, that is not, I mean, and who elected her? I mean, why should she have been put in charge of such a massive thing as healthcare reform?
But is it wrong to use the Nancy Reagan approach? Is it wrong to use the old feminine as opposed to feminist wiles to get your way?
I think there's a lot of Nancy Reagan and Hillary, actually. In point of fact, they're a great power couple. And when they were together, they worked as a great unit.
But is it wrong to do that? To do what Helen Gurley Brown would advocate?
No, I don't think it's wrong, because I think that men need to be centered. I think there's always a woman behind the throne, and this was true in the period of the French kings. It's known that the great courtesans were running the French court. I mean, the kings were like half dead from syphilis.
If you can get at that, if you can get power that way as a woman, and you can, obviously.
I believe in all forms of power. I believe in the bitch. In fact, my essay, an article, an interview I did about Hillary in London 2 years ago was called "Kind of a Bitch: Why I Like Hillary." It's in there.
So you were kind of a...
Oh, Mrs. Gingrich wasn't even thinking about bitch before I was, you know, I was on the map with it a long time ago.
You and Newt, there would be a power couple. Let me give you some of the other issues we've done on this show. Sex. Too easy for women to get, too hard for men. That's the problem in this country. What do you think of it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, for a man to go into a bar, I'm just talking about power. You're just talking about power. Let's talk about real power.
That's
for
right.
For a man to go into a bar and have every woman in that bar at least give him a hearing as to whether she should go to bed with him, he would have to have conquered the world. He has to be, you know, rich, famous, a lot of things like that. For a woman to do that, she has to do her hair.
This is true. Yeah. I've been talking about this since I came on the scene. The sexual power that women have over men, feminist rhetoric has never been fair to this. I mean, men have to knock themselves out to get a woman's attention. And men have performance anxiety right into the act. I mean, if suddenly, you know, the waterworks fail, hey, okay, you know, humiliation city there, okay? We're talking about serious suicide, harakiri, okay, right? You get the woman into bed and nothing happens, zilch, okay, she tells you it's all right. No, 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 no.
You have so many words for that, it's going to happen to me now.
No, no.
So you're saying the
I'm sympathetic to men. I realize the tremendous pressure because I failed so often, okay, as a seducer. I mean, I failed 1,000% of the time, okay? I mean, it was awful trying to get women to date me for years. I mean, so that's why I sympathize with men.
It is true. I mean, I don't think women really realize how amazing it is just in nature. Can you imagine a part of your body that had to transmogrify as much as the male penis? I mean, can you imagine your arm?
No.
I mean, it just wouldn't happen. And
at bad moments, too, like gym class. This is bad.
Always at the worst moment.
Yeah, the worst moment.
You've said that 1995 is the year of the penis. What can we expect?
Well, I want to bring phallic worship back. I mean, I'm following the gay male. I'm saying I've learned, I mean, I love gay male magazines. I love gay male porn, okay, because it shows the beauty of the male body and the beauty of the penis and all of its, you know, modulations. I love it.
Okay.
And lesbians are incapable of really doing hot porn.
Okay, we will talk about porn and penises and men, and we'll talk about it when we come back.
Got a problem with any of this? Well, write to us at Politically Incorrect, 514 West 57th Street, New York, 10019.
Okay, welcome back. Our guest is Camille Paglia. We have one more segment, and we were talking about penises. Speaking of that, I have a question I've been dying to ask a panel for 2 years. I have not had the guts. But there's a new Beatle album out. I don't know if you're a fan. Beatles live at the BBC. Which Beatle do you think had the longest penis?
Ringo.
George. All right, next. Let me ask you this about this, because, I mean, it is some people write me letters and say, oh, this is, I'm tired of talking about this, but I'm sorry, I'm not tired of talking about this, the O.J. Simpson trial, because it has everything to do with everything that pushes a button in this country, and that's why people are interested in it. Especially, it touches on feminine issues. When women support O.J., it gets me so angry. Am I right to be angry when they say, oh, you know, I don't think he's guilty. It's like, if anybody should be angry, it's women. Forget about the murder. What about the way this guy treated his wife? I mean, shouldn't women above all be angry at this guy? Well,
in my new book, I'm talking, even before O.J. Was arrested, I was talking at length about the battered woman syndrome, which I think feminist rhetoric has made too simplistic. I think that there's something going on in both sides, any long-running psychodrama. And that my attitude is that women should have a sense of pride, and from the moment anyone hits you, you walk, okay? You walk and you take the kids with you, okay? This idea of staying around for scene after scene, act after act of this long tragic comedy that went on. If you're calling the police 28 times, you have a problem. The police are the third party in there, okay? You have a stage play going on that's going to result in your extermination.
So you're saying after the first time, she's part of the problem?
Yeah, you're complicitous. You stay after you, let's say, give them one more chance, it happens again, boom, you're out of there, okay? And people have to, Nicole was addicted to the fame and to the money in her own way. She also, I think, and she has become like a kind of superstar. It's very interesting. I feel that the tabloids were truer to Nicole in certain ways. That the major media likes to wring its hands and say, oh, all that stress on Nicole, they're blaming the victim by showing her in all of her bikinis and so on. Au contraire, okay, if you want to see what caused that murder, and whoever did the murder, okay, what caused that murder, okay, her incredible sexual charisma, her incredible power. She's such a superstar now. You expect her to walk back. You expect the movie to be over, right? For her to walk back on now. Okay, she is so vividly in our minds. But it's through the tabloids. I love the tabloids. I was buying the tabloids every week there, where they showed the fabulous pictures of her, so sexy, so glamorous. The woman's sexual power, so clear, and men's subordination, men's helpless, infantile subordination to women's sexual power. That also is shown by the O.J. case.
Well,
But I'm a great football fan. I'm one of the few feminists who's a rabid.
I was going to say, who do you like in the Super Bowl?
I know. I love football. I adore football. So it's been horrible for any true football fan. I despise the way they have not shown. There should have been great specials showing O.J.'s prowess on the football field for people to understand, people who are like baseball fans and all the other effete literati and so on, to see why people love O.J. so much.
Don't you think it's a big problem in America that people can't separate the fact that a guy can do wonderful things on the football field and terrible things in a condo?
Well,
I'm sorry, but I finally, for once, got her the last word in because we're out of time. Listen, I want to thank Camille. She was terrific. And get her latest book, Vamps and Tramps. And I'll see you tomorrow. My guests will be Larry Miller, Sister Soldier, Michael Knight, and Fisher Stevens. Thanks, folks. Thank you very much.